Okay, hello everyone, my name is Paul. I've been an English teacher for quite a long time. I've decided to start making some revision guides for students and putting them on YouTube. So this is the very first one that I've ever done. But what I'm going to be doing today is looking at some key quotes from An Inspector Calls, which is a play that I love to teach and I try to make as interesting as possible for my students. So I'm going to look at each character from the play and look at 3 key quotes from each character and just talk you through them, why they're important quotes, why the characters say them, why Priestley might have got his characters to say them as well. So the next character that I'm going to look at is Sheila Birling, the daughter of the Birlings, one of the younger generation within the family. She's a really powerful character because at the start of the play she's shown to be quite young, naive and innocent, and the best quote to show that is when she's talking to her mother, Mrs. Birling. She's just received her engagement ring from Gerald and she says, "Oh, isn't it wonderful? Look, Mummy, isn't it a beauty? Oh, darling." And then she kisses Gerald. So the way that she talks to her mother, the way that she talks to Gerald, she seems quite young and innocent. She refers to her mum as mummy, and the use of the dashes within that quote emphasises to the actor to really get across the excitement that she's having at the start of the play because she's receiving that ring. What this quote does is also emphasise the materialism, the obsession with material goods that Sheila has. We know later on in the play it's that drive and desire for materialism that effectively angers Sheila into sacking Eva from Millward's, the hat shop, the clothing shop that she goes to. So because of that, she is quite material, she's quite shallow. And as the play progresses, her understanding of the world and her understanding of society becomes deeper and deeper, and the audience can see that as she changes throughout the play. Really good quotes to show the change that Sheila goes through is in Act 2, when she's talking to Gerald and she says, "Why, of course, you fool, he knows," referring to the inspector. Sheila's the one who really picks up on the power of the inspector straight away. She's able to see the influence that he can have over the characters, the fact that he seems to know everything in advance. He's not coming into questions as a normal police officer would do without knowing what's happened. He's trying to eke out answers from them, trying to get them to feel a sense of guilt about what's happened with Eva or Daisy. And she is the first person who really recognises that, who really sees what he's doing there, what he's trying to get out of this family. So she sees that power, which makes her quite intelligent, quite astute because of that. If you tie that in with what I said previously about Eric saying, "What about war?" Those 2 young characters, despite being given absolutely no respect at the start of the play, are probably the 2 most aware, the 2 most astute characters in the play. And Priestley's doing that deliberately. He's trying to give credit to the younger generation, trying to show actually that they are aware, that they are articulate and they are intelligent. And then there's that stage direction at the end of this quote, which he says she looks at him almost in triumph. Now, of course, the audience can't read that, but the actor who's playing Sheila has to really think carefully about her body language, her hand gestures, her mannerisms. How is she going to get across that idea that she's almost in triumph? So that's an interesting stage direction because it seems to suggest that Sheila is almost siding with the inspector, that she agrees with what he's doing. So there's a clear divide that's forming with some of the characters already through that. And then she also repeats that phrase, "You'll see, you'll see." So she's worked out what the inspector's about and she's almost waiting for the other characters to get trapped by it as well. So it's an interesting quote. There's a lot you can pick out of it in terms of analysing the character of Sheila. And then lastly, the inspector talks to Sheila about young women in society beyond the social bubble that she's kind of found herself in for most of her life. And he talks about how there's people across every city and every town in the country who are living in a situation just like Eva was. And Sheila's response to that is, but they're not cheap labour, they're people. So Mr. Birling was previously talking about how there was a strike at his factory and he had to dismiss Eva because of it and her actions within that strike. But Sheila takes a different perspective. She realises that people like Eva are people. They're not just objects, they're not just things. They're not just there to make you money, they're not just cheap labour. And that adjective cheap next to labour is really important because it exaggerates what she thinks about the existing attitudes towards working class people in the Edwardian period by the upper class within the society. And she has that contrast, she says they're people. So she doesn't see them as being below her, she sees them as equals. So that change is really starting to take place in Sheila. She's previously been protected, been in a social bubble, and now she's popping in that bubble, she's coming out of it, and she's starting to question the way society is for herself. Okay, so I've been through every major character in the play. I haven't spoken about Edna. I know that lots of students love Edna, but she doesn't really say a lot, and she is an important character in many ways, but because she doesn't say anything, I can't really talk about her in terms of key quotes. But I hope you found the video useful. If you click on the links at the end of it, you'll go to my shop with lots of revision guides and resources for both students and for teachers. You can subscribe to my videos, which I'm hoping to make quite a few from now onwards. You can go to my Twitter feed, my Facebook feed, there's all sorts of things at the end. Thank you for listening, I hope that was useful.